So the first one is we need to put boiling water in the grill. So carrying it around the kitchen, you need to put your hand in front of you when there's loads of people about, right? Then we open it, we don't lift it out and carry it with boiling water in because we might burn ourselves. We leave it in the grill area, we bring the hot kettle over, pour it in, and then we gently push it in, then we're less likely to scald ourselves. So anybody carrying it around, so that's the first answer basically. Next one, what type of flour? Strong flour, and that stops it collapsing, by the way, guys. Next one, what temperature should the milk be? The liquid, and it should be roughly body temperature or warm, you should write down, or lukewarm, body temperature or warm. And that's because its yeast is alive, it grows quicker when it's warm. If it's cold, it'll be a lot slower. If it's hot, it will kill it. What 2 reasons is sugar added to bread? To feed the yeast and do a crust. Well, we got bun dough today, so that's also to sweeten it, but normal bread would also help form the crust and feed the yeast, because the yeast is alive and it eats the flour, but it prefers the sugar. What 2 types of yeast are there? There's fresh yeast and dried yeast, are the main ones. We're just using the dried yeast today. The fresh yeast doesn't last long. What does it mean by strong flour? High gluten content, over 10.5%, and the gluten is the protein in the flour. What type of raising agent is it? It's biological because it's alive. So we've got 3 different raising agents. Doesn't matter if you've missed it, I'll be telling you the answers in a minute because I don't want to waste the video. So biological because it's alive. Chemical would be baking powder or bicarbonate of soda. Physical would be something like puff pastry or choux pastry. Mechanical would be when we whisk the egg up and it's already got all frothy just through the mechanics. 2 reasons why we add salt, flavour, and it controls the yeast. Be careful, salt can kill the yeast, so you shouldn't put the salt in with the yeast right on it, otherwise it can kill it. What does it mean to prove it? So this is being proved a little bit at the moment. It doubles in size, then we can knock it back. How many times do we normally prove it? It should be proved twice. Once now, and you put it in a bowl or cover it up with a tea towel or put cling film on it. It doubles in size and you knock it back and you prove it before you put it in the oven. If we have a 1 hour lesson though, we only prove it the once because obviously we wouldn't have time. After it's proved, you have to knock it back, knock the air out of it. That's what it means. Number 12. 2 ways to stop forming a skin. So as you know, you can't see here, I've got around my class, they've all got the tea towels on it, but you can put it in a bowl with cling film. Or in here it won't get a skin because it's all steamy because I put the water in. I will also put the oven on because that will make it the water a bit more hotter, it'll be hotter in there. But you do not turn the grill on, you turn the oven on. Now this also always confuses the pupils. We're not going to put it in the oven yet, otherwise this will only be this size. You see this size here? It will only be this size, yeah? And it'll be heavy. This will be double its size. This is somebody else's, so getting these back in a minute. But I'm going to do the rolls in a minute with his. Then he can just do something else with it. So next one. Oh, 5 types of rolls. Now, normally, if it wasn't for the lockdown, we would have done bread and rolls. But we made bread before, but I'm just going to remind them how to do this. I'm going to make 5 different, and I'm trying to make it a bit sticky, because the bun dough is a lot harder to make into nice shapes than others. So I'm going to do 5 shapes. Well, actually there's 6 here, but I'm going to only make 5. So, and then he's going to get it back and make his own thing. So I'm going to make this. I'm going to hopefully be done all 3 things very shortly in the next 5 minutes. So the first one is a round roll. The second one is a finger roll. So a round roll, finger roll. But these can also be used for buns. So that could be like a Devon split or a nice bun. Now I make another long one, longer than this. And I'm going to make it into a knot. Roll it down, nice and long, and I'll just tie it into a knot. They're a famous bread roll rather than a bun. Next one, oh, this is one of my favourites. I had a year 7 at the time. She won a competition, took her to London. I need 2 sultanas for this one. I'm going to get the scissors. And this is going to be an animal, and that's what the eyes are for. Hopefully they know what it is. And that's going to be a little hedgehog. Yeah, little hedgehog. And I had this year 7 girl, but by the time I took her to London, she was in year 8. She was up against year 10s and 11s, so she didn't win the final. I did have one a few years ago win the final. She's at the moment working in the Grosvenor Hotel in London. She's only 19, I think. And she, rather than go and do sixth form and not get any pay, she won a scholarship. She got paid £50 a week when she was only 16. And she worked a work placement in the Grosvenor Hotel in London. Now, if you like Monopoly, the two most expensive places are Park Lane and Mayfair. The address of the Grosvenor Hotel is Park Lane, Mayfair. So, Platt, this is the last one. This is the last shape I'm doing. Have it like this and bring it over. The outside one comes over, the outside one comes over. Have it coming over quite a lot because then it looks a lot neater. And then we have a plait, and there's a bats. We're not using them, this is some other boys, he's just going to rip them all up and make his cinnamon rolls with them. Now, okay, hot cross buns. So hot cross buns we have on Good Friday, which is next week. And we have normally put a cross on them, because obviously Jesus got crucified on Good Friday. So we do hot cross buns. Also Catholics on a Friday have normally have fish. That's not one of the questions though. What's the next question? Oh, I've done that. Oh, what could be made with the sweet products? So one is obviously hot cross buns. One is cinnamon rolls, donuts, Bath buns, which are like got little nib sugar on. Belgian buns, they're a bit like cinnamon buns with sultanas and icing and a cherry on top. Devon splits, they're like a donut with cream and jam in. So there's loads of things, there's at least 5 there. Oh, lardy cake as well. Oh, there's a place in, I don't know why I make it into a finger four because I'm going to be making it round. So these are the hot cross buns. I put them on the tray. Now I'm going to put them on the paper, if not just grease the tray. Now I'm putting them on here 6, so I'm going to put them on. You need to leave space in between because they're double in size when they're proved. But you don't put the cross on yet, you put the cross on, which is 25 grams of flour, 25 grams of water, mixed together, and I pipe it on just before I put them in the oven. So I push them down, then they won't be surround. So I want them flattened a bit because they look a bit bigger then. So flatten them down, and these will take 40 minutes in the oven. Next one, cinnamon buns. Now I need a little bit of flour for this. I don't know where that is, so I'm just going to roll in a bit of sugar, but it should be rolled in some flour. Give me a flour shaker, cheers. Thank you. I should have had one out. Then all I'm going to do, it doesn't matter rolling in sugar, but it will stick a bit. Cheers, just do that with the other bit. Cheers. So flour on the table. This will stretch back, as you can see it's going back because the gluten's quite strong in it. Make it a bit bigger than A4. Most people know what A4 is. This will do about 6, depending how big you're doing them. Oh, don't know if I've got a ring out. Oh, I have. Mrs. got me a ring out, basically. We're going to try. So on here, butter, and you can melt it. But if it's soft margarine, you don't. So if it's butter, you'd have to melt it with rock hard butter with a palette knife. You need quite a bit of butter because it's a bit like toast. If you don't want any butter on it, it'll be dry. So that would probably be enough for the lot. You can. That's probably about the right amount, right? But you can put less on if you don't want so much on. Then we put some cinnamon sugar, because they're cinnamon buns. Obviously, if you don't like them. Oh, and if you don't like cinnamon buns or hot cross buns, you could just make fingers like this and just do iced buns, but we're not doing any of that today. I've got some here. Put some cinnamon in, so I've got about 2 tablespoons in there. I'm going to have, oh, this is actually cinnamon sugar, not cinnamon, so that's already mixed up. So cinnamon's quite strong. 2 teaspoons will probably be about enough. Depends how strong you like it. So it's in here. Spread it about. And then this will make it. Spread it around. Now I will need a nice sharp knife for this. I'm going to get a knife out. Roll it up. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, in here, now I can have them any size. So if I have them about this size, they will double in size. But if I want them even bigger, I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to do 3 small ones. Now I'm just going to have them this size today. But if you want them bigger, I could unroll this and then put the other one inside. Then you could have a bun that big, yeah? I did that. I'll do that with one of it to show you actually. So I'll do that with a couple. So this one here, I'm going to make these nice and big. And these ones are going to be bigger now. Do you see these are not going to be far bigger? Yeah? Do need a big knife for this, makes it easier. Then I put them in a ring. If you put them in a ring, doesn't go dry on the outside. Yeah, so this goes on here, and this would normally fill it up. But you might, if you've got too much, have a little bit of room for it to spread. So that's enough in that, because once that goes in the oven, that's going to have no room in between. Even though there's room in between it at the moment, there'll be no room, or shouldn't be too much room. These ones I'm just going to put on the tray. And you're going to try and put them on diagonally, you guys, and you can share a tray, right? Because you'll have either that or that. These ones, and then we prove them, but I'm going to prove mine till 20 till half past or 20 past, so that's 40, 50 minutes. You can have at least nearly an hour for yours. They don't go in the oven, they go into this area here, and then that's it, guys. Thank you. So go and do that then. You've got 12 minutes to do that before